Greetings, my name is Anty of Hive 47, third forager of the outer cluster, but you may address me as Anty if that is easier for you. I love to share information about my favorite species, humans. So today we'll talk about how they keep themselves moving, or rather, how they build the motivation to move at all. In our hive, it's simple. I wake up, pick up signals from the queen, and go forage information for the collective. My purpose is clear. It's encoded right in my genes. But humans, they don't come with pre-installed instructions. They must decide who they are and what they should do every single day. That's where something called identity-based motivation, or IBM, comes in. It's a theory that explains how humans can use the sense of identity, who they believe they are, to stay motivated and pursue goals. But here's the twist. Identity isn't fixed. Humans don't have a stable self living in their heads. Instead, their identities are constructed dynamically, moment by moment, depending on what's around them. So let's start with that. The first mechanism of IBM, dynamic construction, the art of building the right version of yourself for the moment. And for all of you who are interested in reading directly from the sources, they are linked in the description, and here are their citations. Dynamic construction, building the right identity. In the hive, I don't choose my role. I'm a forager. I collect, sort, and share information so the colony can act. My identity is genetically anchored and always the same. But humans, their identity is always shifting with the environment. This concept, dynamic construction, is one of the three core predictions of identity-based motivation theory. It explains that human identity isn't stored as a fixed trait, but assembled in real time, depending on context. How it works. Humans constantly use their surroundings to decide who they are and what behavior makes sense right now. Their mind pulls from memories, experiences, sensory cues, all the little things around them to create a working identity for the moment. So instead of thinking, I'm always this kind of person, humans subconsciously ask, given this situation, which version of me makes sense to be right now? Context triggers identity. The environment acts like a mirror, reflecting back which identity should be active. If they are in a classroom surrounded by books and students, their learner identity becomes active. If they're at the gym, their healthy, disciplined identity surfaces. If they're with their family, their caring identity takes the lead. Even tiny cues, a group's language, a photo, or a color, can switch which identity comes online. Humans call this situation cognition. Their minds build meaning based on what the environment suggests is relevant right now. Meaning is contextual. Dynamic construction doesn't just decide which identity appears. It also defines what that identity means. Take this example from one of my sources. When British students compared themselves to Americans, who they saw as less healthy, their British identity made them want to eat better. But when they compared themselves to Japanese people, seen as more healthy, the same identity made them less motivated to improve. The identity didn't change. The context changed its meaning. That's the beauty and the chaos of the human self. What this means for motivation. For humans to stay motivated, they must choose their context carefully. The environment they build, the people they talk to, the things they see, even the words they use, constantly shapes who they believe they are and what actions feel right. In short, your identity isn't stored in your DNA. It's constructed by your surroundings. Change what you see, do, hear, and you change who you are. Summary. As your identity isn't stored in your DNA or told by someone else, you can form it and decide who you want to be and when you want to be who. So if you want to study more, go to a place where people study. Let your environment help you instead of blocking you. So that's the first piece of the puzzle. Dynamic construction. The way humans build their sense of self from the world and around them, moment by moment. But the process doesn't stop here. Once a human's identity is active, say they learner or creator self, it needs to do something. That's called action readiness. The idea that thinking is for doing. An identity only matters if it leads to immediate, meaningful action in the moment. And of course, humans face obstacles. When that happens, the third mechanism of identity-based motivation comes into play: interpretation of difficulty. It's about how humans read their own struggles. Do they see difficulty as proof that the goal matters or as a sign to give up? These three parts, constructing the right identity, linking it to action, and interpreting struggle as meaning, forms the complete system that keeps humans moving towards their goals. It is a clever adaptation, really, a way for a species without Hive directives to create their own internal guidance system. If you want to learn more about it, I recommend looking out for my following videos about identity-based motivation. And of course, my sources are linked below. If you are interested, please read them. Thank you for listening, and may your remaining wake cycle be productive.